In our last lesson, we learned how different sections of the society came up with their own responses to the civil disobedience movement. Now, Gandhi's idea of Swaraj was quite different from what these various groups had in their minds when they supported the civil disobedience movement. Nevertheless, this civil disobedience movement was a mass, large-scale movement. It brought together people from different parts, different sections of the Indian society. And when all these people took to the streets, they started picketing shops that sold foreign clothes or even foreign liquor. The British government was intimidated. So they were now on the verge of being pushed to a corner. And the government knew that it had to bounce back with even more brutality in order to curb and suppress these protesters, these demonstrators. And so the British government, because of being frightened by the popularity of the civil disobedience movement, now started arresting Congress leaders. Now, the British Indian government knew that if the leaders could be arrested, then the government will be able to stop the movement, because without proper leadership, the movement will not go any further, which is why the Congress leaders were being arrested. At the same time, the Satyagrahis who took to the streets were being brutally repressed. They were being tortured, they were beaten, flogged. Many of them were even imprisoned without any proper trial. So in this way, the government tried its best to curb these rebellious masses. What we see here is an image of how police cracked down on Satyagrahis in 1930. Now, lathi charges, brutal repression and violence inflicted upon the masses became very, very common during the years of the civil disobedience movement. Now, the British government devised an even more powerful strategy to stop and thwart this movement altogether. We know how popular Mahatma Gandhi was. Mahatma Gandhi was hailed and revered as the Messiah. He was the face of this Indian national movement, so to speak. Likewise, Abdul Ghaffar Khan was also a very popular nationalist leader. So, these popular leaders were being arrested by the British government during this time. Now, the arrest of Abdul Ghaffar Khan in April 1930 severely infuriated the masses. The masses now took to the streets of Peshawar to protest and rebel against the arrest of Abdul Ghaffar Khan. Likewise, after Gandhi was arrested in the May of 1930, the industrial workers of Sholapur became very violent. They could no longer be suppressed. Their anger could no longer be contained. So, the arrests of popular leaders like Abdul Ghaffar Khan or Gandhi led to violent demonstrations throughout the subcontinent. Now, during this time, the government realized that this was a state of impasse, because the masses could no longer be stopped completely. When someone is pushed to the edge, pushed to the wall, then that person will start walking forward. And this is what was happening to the Indian masses as well. They had been exploited, tortured, humiliated, beaten up for many decades. And now, when they were breaking out in rebellion, the police, the British officials failed to contain and suppress these people. And so, the then Viceroy of India realized that a middle ground had to be reached. Negotiations were very important in order to maintain the British rule in the Indian subcontinent. And it is for this reason that Mahatma Gandhi and Lord Irwin now signed the Gandhi-Irwin Pact on March 5, 1931. Now, Lord Irwin knew that without arriving at a middle ground, without negotiating with popular leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, the colonial rule in the Indian subcontinent could no longer be sustained. Now, before proceeding with this lesson, let me ask you a question. When was the Gandhi-Irwin Pact signed? Was it signed on March 2, 1931, March 5, 1931, April 10, 1930 or on April 13, 1920? Well, the correct answer is March 5, 1931. It was on this day that the Gandhi-Irwin Pact was signed. Let us now look into the terms of this one pact. So, as a term of the Gandhi-Irwin Pact, the civil disobedience movement was halted. Now, it was this mass, huge, large-scale civil disobedience movement that posed a challenge to the British colonial rule in the Indian subcontinent. And the Britishers knew that if the masses kept on protesting and breaking out in rebellion in several pockets and in the entire nation as a whole, then their rule in the subcontinent could be completely threatened and jeopardized. And so, the civil disobedience movement was halted because of the signing of this Gandhi-Irwin Pact. Then, the Congress also agreed to participate in the second roundtable conference. Now, the Congress had boycotted the first roundtable conference because Lord Irwin did not agree with Gandhi's proposal of the 11 demands. But now a point of negotiation was reached and the Congress agreed to participate in the second roundtable conference. The British also made a compromise on their part, because the British government now agreed to release all political prisoners who were not convicted of any violent cases. So these were the three terms of the Gandhi-Irwin Pact that was signed between Mahatma Gandhi and Lord Irwin on March 5, 1931. Now, Mahatma Gandhi was chosen as the representative of the Indian National Congress in order to attend the second roundtable conference. So, in accordance with the Gandhi-Irwin Pact, Mahatma Gandhi attended the second roundtable conference in December 1931 in London. Now, when he attended this second roundtable conference, more than being happy with the proceedings of this conference, Gandhi was disappointed. Why do you think it was so? Let us now find that out. Now, Gandhi wanted to propose that the Indian masses needed their independence and autonomy. Now, this was the idea that Gandhi wanted to propose in this second roundtable conference. But contrary to what he wanted to do in the second roundtable conference, the demand for separate electorate consumed the discussion, because back in the Indian subcontinent, the Sikhs, Christians, Anglo-Indians, depressed classes, Muslim League were all demanding separate electorate for themselves. Now, they did not want to be identified with the Indian National Congress, which is why they were demanding separate electorate. But Gandhi saw this demand for separate electorate as a threat to the unity and solidarity of India as a nation, because if these separate classes were given their own separate electorates, then the country's unity could be threatened. The masses would no longer be together because their interests could be taken care of by the separate electorates, which is why Gandhi was very disappointed when this discussion of separate electorate was all that was taken up in the second roundtable conference. Now, Gandhi wanted to discuss the formation of a government by the Indians, but this one prevailing discussion of this separate electorate was given importance in the second roundtable conference, and so this idea of the formation of a government by the Indians remained undiscussed, and this is the reason why Gandhi was very disappointed with the proceedings of the second roundtable conference. He came back almost empty-handed, so to speak. When Gandhi came back to the Indian subcontinent after attending the second roundtable conference, he found the country embroiled in a state of anarchy and chaos. Because Congress and other leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru or Abdur Ghaffar Khan were already behind the bars, and there was a state of absolute anarchy because the masses were needing leadership and there was no person to provide good leadership and guidance to the rebellious masses. So, Lord Wellington, the then Viceroy of the Indian subcontinent, had actually breached the terms of the Gandhi-Irwin Pact, because as per the terms of the Gandhi-Irwin Pact, all political prisoners who were not convicted of any violent cases were to be released. But this person, as in Lord Wellington, undertook a policy of severe repression in the subcontinent and he broke the Gandhi-Irwin Pact. So, apart from popular leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru or Abdur Ghaffar Khan, many nationalists, many rebels who were fighting for the cause of their homeland were imprisoned and many were also executed. So, this is what was happening when Gandhi came back to the subcontinent after attending the second roundtable conference. So, Gandhi saw that the Britishers were in no way willing to grant any kind of autonomy or independence to the Indian masses. And so the civil disobedience movement that was also halted as a part of the Gandhi-Irwin Pact was once again resumed. So the civil disobedience movement was resumed in 1932. The masses once again began picketing the shops, they started burning all their foreign goods. But this movement eventually began to decline and fade out of power. By 1934, the civil disobedience movement lost its momentum because several sections of the society did not believe in this resumption of the civil disobedience movement. Many people could no longer put their faith in the Congress and its objectives. So, the civil disobedience movement was doomed to failure. With this, we come to an end of our discussion on the civil disobedience movement, the Gandhi-Irwin Pact and the resumption of the civil disobedience movement. We learned that the Gandhi-Irwin Pact took a more of a reconciliatory approach because the British government now arrived at a point of negotiation. But Lord Wellington repressed the Indian masses very brutally and the Gandhi-Irwin Pact was breached. But when the civil disobedience movement was resumed, most of the people no longer had any faith in the same, because they saw that the civil disobedience movement was not very successful in bringing India its independence. At the same time, the wealthy businessmen, the rich and propertied classes now saw that if they continued to join the civil disobedience movement, then their businesses could be disrupted even further. So, seeing a kind of potential loss that might come their way, these businessmen did not participate in the resumed civil disobedience movement. Many people from the lower sections of the society were already breaking out in chaos and mayhem, and so they could not be organized under the umbrella of this one national movement one more time. Likewise, many sections of the society like the Muslim or even the depressed classes had no faith in the Congress as a whole, because this Congress was believing in ideas that went against that of the depressed lower classes. The Congress did not provide great recognition to the Muslims, to the Sikhs. The Congress was mostly dominated by Hindus and certain iconographies of this one religion. And so, those classes who felt alienated from the Congress also did not take part in the civil disobedience movement. Now, because of these reasons, the civil disobedience movement was doomed to fail, but nonetheless, we should keep in our minds that the civil disobedience movement could deal a severe blow to the British government in the Indian subcontinent, because the civil disobedience movement could shake the foundation of this colonial government. They were apprehensive of the power that the masses had, and so it is out of this fear, out of this sense of being scared, that the British government responded with even further more powerful police brutalities. Now, having learnt about how the civil disobedience movement was resumed and failed over the years, in our subsequent lesson, we will be taking up a new discussion. We will talk about how there were many voices that together made up the Indian national movement. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers, or to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million plus questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock tests. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it's rewarding too. So register for free now.